Happy New Year 2023, everyone. This is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger, here with your new Empowered Moments video for the month of January 2023. For this month's monthly reading, we'll be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. Your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, will be coming from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, which is by Alberto Villaldo and Colette Barron Reed. So this is a brand new year with a brand new energy. We're going to talk a little bit about the universal year vibration for 2023. And then we're going to talk about the universal month vibration for January 2023. We're going to give you a rundown of some of the biggest astrological transits for this month, along with a message from our angels and guides, and then a special message card depending on your stone of choice for the month. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and have an empowered moment. So let's get comfortable where we're sitting, feet flat on the floor, legs uncrossed, sitting up straight, but yet have your body be as relaxed as possible. Closing your eyes if you haven't already, clearing your mind of all thoughts, just focusing on this present moment, the here and now. Taking in a deep breath and breathing in that beautiful, wonderful golden white light that's all around you. Breathing in that unconditional love, guidance, and protection into every cell of your body. And as you exhale, letting go of all that your body, mind, and energy field no longer needs to hold on to. Letting go of the year of 2022 and being ready to welcome in the new year's energy, 2023. And as we focus on this month of January, some of what's happening this month is that many of our planets that are in retrograde motion are turning back to direct motion this month. So whereas the retrograde energy has slowed things down a little bit or asked us to backtrack or asked us to go within, and for part of the month we're still doing that, going within, reviewing, revising, revamping, slowing down, reflecting, being at peace and quiet in your mind. And let's breathe that intention into every cell of your body. Quieting the mind, soothing the soul. Reflecting on the past year or the past few years and what you have accomplished. How much you have grown and evolved as a soul. Thanking yourself, your higher soul self, for all that it has supported you in. And as those 3 planets that I'm speaking of, which we'll talk about soon, as they turn back to direct motion, it'll kind of be like a reset. It'll be a time where the energies on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level can start to move forward again, which is appropriate as we're in the first month of the new year. We're gearing up and ready to go towards new goals and visions and ambitions and dreams, ready to work towards what it is that we have in our mind's eye, what we wish to manifest and accomplish in this new year of 2023. Let's take a deep breath and breathe in that idea of a reset that occurs a little later this month. Breathing in that idea of being able to move forward with our visions, goals, dreams, with what we hope to accomplish in the year ahead. Breathing that in deeply to every cell of your body. And as you exhale, and in your own time, returning to this time and this place, and opening your eyes. And let's start. Before we get into anything else, let's take a look at those stones of choice for that special message card a little bit later. So I dug into one of my boxes and unwrapped some larger crystals for this first month of the new year. And so our first crystal here, this is celestite, a beautiful powder blue color, baby blue color, great for the throat chakra. So the celestite is associated with celestial beings. Appropriate, right? Celestite and celestial beings. It connects us to the divine cosmos. It connects us to the angelic realm, assists us in communing or communicating with the angelic realm, receiving their messages, their energies. And the celestite is also known as a cosmic teacher. All right, our second stone of choice. So beautiful. This is carnelian, a carnelian heart, if you haven't noticed. And the carnelian activates, I hope I said that right the first time, the carnelian activates the sacral chakra, that orange color of the sacral chakra, which means it activates the divine feminine energy, because I always associate that sacral chakra of sensuality and passion and whatnot with the divine feminine. So divine feminine energy activated. It stimulates creativity, it stimulates passion and success. Also, it is about rebirth. And what's that last word I wrote down? Oh, past life recall. Okay, past life recall. All right. And then our last stone of choice for this month is a beautiful raw piece of azurite malachite. You can see the azurite is that beautiful dark blue third eye color, and there's little speckles of green here and even throughout. That's the malachite. And the azurite malachite is called the stone of heaven. Well, actually, azurite is called the stone of heaven. And this one provides insight into all areas of our lives. It helps to stimulate creativity as well, but also stimulates our intuition, our clairvoyance. It helps to promote change and growth. That part is the malachite part, and heals negative emotions or old emotional patterns. That's also the malachite part. So again, our stones of choice for this month are the celestite. Let's put that aside here, the carnelian, and the azurite malachite. Okay, so let yourselves think about which stone draws your attention the most this month. So, the month of January. Well, first, before we get into the month of January and the universal month vibration, we should talk just a little briefly about 2023 and the universal year vibration. So, we've got some information here that I kind of channeled, if you will. And this number 7 vibration, if you think about the 7, numerologically speaking, and some of you know a little bit about numerology. So on a collective level, we're all experiencing the 7 universal year vibration. Now, your personal year number may be different, and that's based on your date of birth. So you want to know what your personal year number is, But the backdrop of energy for the whole collective of humanity is that 7 universal year number. So the number 7, it's about going within ourselves, going within. It's about personal growth. It's about spiritual evolution. This is not considered an active year. The number 7 is not an active or busy number. It's a quiet, self-reflective, internal kind of energy, okay? So it's a time to take a pause. This year is going to be a time for the collective of humanity to take a pause as we prepare for the more active energies of the next 3 years, 2024, 2025, and 2026. The 7 universal year number is both a spiritual year vibration and also a scientific one. So the number 7, it's mental and emotional and spiritual all at the same time, okay? So intuition throughout this year on the collective level will grow stronger. Connection to higher wisdom and knowledge on a collective level will expand. But also, because it's this scientific, kind of logical, analyzing sort of number, there's also a drive for study, research, and analyzing information to better understand all the puzzle pieces, as I call it, and how they fit together. So in other words, what's been happening on a collective level on this planet for the last few years, with the 7 vibration this year, we start to try to take all these little bits of pieces of information and put those puzzle pieces together so that we can see a more whole expression of what's been happening on the planet. We can start to make sense. We take the logical bits of information, we try to analyze them, but we also have to use our intuition. So it's that merging of logic and intuition. And so again, on a collective level, our logical left brain of humanity is merging with that intuitive right brain. So I feel like individually and as a humanity, that's starting to take place. The 7, it asks us to go within, it asks us to quiet down, it asks us to slow down, it asks us to reflect, study, analyze, ask questions as well about ourselves and what is going on around us. It's slow and deep and soul shifting, okay? It's very soul shifting on a deep internal evolutionary level. We need the time, though, throughout this year to digest and assimilate and integrate all of the information, all the facts, all the intuitive visions that we're receiving. It asks us to dig down deep, ask the hard questions. Again, a collective energy, but we can also do this individually, right? Ask the hard questions about what's going on in your life, but also ask the hard questions of what's going on here on the planet, in the world, on a collective level. And then be open to the answers that you're going to receive. The 7 being very spiritual. We have to be open to the answers that our higher soul self is giving us, that our angels and guides are giving us, that the cosmos, the universe herself is giving us. Okay. So now that we talked about 2023 and the universal year vibration, now we can talk just very briefly about the monthly vibration. This again is on a collective level. So we take that 7 universal year energy for 2023, we add it to January, the first month of the year. Of course, we get the number 8. And this is a number which is interesting because the 8 is a little bit more active on an external level. But again, it has to be read as far as the 7 universal year number. So if we think about that 7 energy that I just described, and we think about the 8 universal month energy of January, on a physical level, we could be thinking about more of our life path, destiny path, career path, money, finances. It's like contemplation time regarding those areas of life, because that's what the number 8 rules on a physical level. Career, life path, destiny path, money, finances, your sense of authority, right? So now we're in contemplation and reflecting on all of these areas. And because there's 3 planets that we start the month out with, well, I shouldn't say just 3, But those 3 planets that are going to turn into direct motion a little bit later this month, we start out the month with them retrograde. So it is an internalization of energies. It is an integration time of these energies. So it's not quite the best time to initiate or activate something on an external level with your goals, your dreams, projects, etc. Mercury is still retrograde as we start out January. So we might want to just kind of pause with the 7 energy of the universal year number, but pause and reflect and think about what the next steps will be with the career or with the money matters, etc. Now, on a spiritual level, the number 8 is about our empowerment. It can bring up power and control issues on an earthly level, but it's also about where or how we feel disempowered versus where or how we can empower ourselves or take our power back. So I feel like that's also happening on a spiritual level in this month of January. Now, the 2 tarot cards that relates to the number 7 and the number 8, right? We got to talk about those. So the Chariot is Major Arcana 7. This is the vibration for all of 2023. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. 7th major arcana, the Chariot. It's about moving forward, but before we can move forward, we have to bring opposing energies into focus, right? And in order to bring opposing energies into focus, we have to go within, we have to contemplate, we have to deliberate, okay? We have to prepare, we have to analyze. Okay, the Chariot, this one, and this Chariot card anyway, there's 2 horses veering off to the left, 2 horses veering off to the right, and then there's 1 horse in the center that's straight away, dead center, wanting to move ahead. Now, typically the Chariot card in most decks have just 2 horses, one going off to the left, one going off to the right. So, it doesn't seem like with 2 horses going in opposite kind of directions here that you're going to get anywhere fast. But this one, this particular Syrian Starseed Tarot Chariot card, has the 1 horse in the middle that's kind of trying to get the other horses aligned in order to be able to move forward, okay? Now, the Chariot card, interestingly enough, astrologically, relates to the sign of Cancer, which seems a little odd. I taught a tarot class last year. I think it was late summer, early fall, 2022, and I'll be teaching it again. It's coming up, so if you're interested in learning tarot, I've devised 3 levels of tarot to teach you all. But when we got to the astrological and planetary rulers of these major arcana cards, the ruler of the Chariot was the most confusing in some way because it's ruled by Cancer. And you would think forward movement that it would be something else, a different planet, a different sign. But Cancer rules the emotions, and it rules home and family. It rules the subconscious as well. And the reason why I say it's interesting is because we do have a full moon in Cancer early on in the month that we're going to talk about here shortly and give you the date for. But here again, we're needing to bring these emotional fluctuations within ourselves into alignment, just like bringing these horses into alignment, putting our emotions in such a way that we're not being pulled in all these different directions. There might in fact be home and family stuff coming up perhaps this year, even though it's a 7 vibration. Now last year, 2022, was a 6 vibration. So that also brought up some home and family stuff. But the fact that this is ruled by the Chariot card might also indicate that there's some home, family, and or community sorts of energies that are coming up. But all in all, we're trying to align our energies in order to move forward in the best possible way. And then the overlay to this for the month, for January, right? The 8 universal month is ruled by the 8th major arcana, the Strength card, okay? So most strength cards have a lion with a young girl or maiden. This one has a tiger, which we don't change the Chinese New Year until I think it's sometime in February. And I believe we're still in the year of the tiger here in January. So I guess it's fitting that we have a tiger here listed. But what does that show you? I mean, tiger, fierce, ferocious, right? The 8 wants to be fierce and ferocious, but it's on this backdrop of this emotional Cancer-ruled Chariot card. So we've got water, Cancer, and then we've got Leo, which rules the Strength card, fire. What happens when you add water to fire? Kind of fizzles it out a little bit, doesn't it? So we want to move forward strong and fast in the month of January because it's the first month of 2023, but it might be fizzled out by that Cancerian water because our emotional bodies aren't yet quite aligned or healed or integrated in the way that they need to. It's almost like we're still carrying over some stuff from 2022 that we need to still heal, release, or integrate. But this is saying that this is also about empowerment, right? Look at that tiger, roaring and fiery and passionate. So we're still feeling passionate about what we want to accomplish this year. We're still feeling passionate about our goals and fiery, and we want to be active. And that's going to be coming. And I feel like as we move through at least half the month, and some of those planets start to turn back to direct motion, we'll slowly start to be able to move forward here, all the while empowering ourselves, feeling passionate, creative, active, and leadership oriented as well. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the astrological transits of significance. Now, I'm going to mention this one, even though I'm not mentioning a lot of the connections between planets this month, because I'm mostly going to be focusing on what those planets are that are turning back to direct motion. But I thought it was interesting since I talked about the empowerment of the divine feminine. I think I said that a little earlier when I was talking about the 7 universal year. On the 1st of January, the very first day of the first month of the new year, we have Venus, which is that feminine archetype, that ruler of the divine feminine. Now, she's still in Capricorn right now. That gives her a sense of strength. You know, Venus is a feminine planet, but Capricorn is a feminine sign too. But we often think of Capricorn as this authority energy, which it is. And it is about our goals and our ambitions. And on the 1st, it's connecting to Pluto, which is the planet of power. It's about death and rebirth and transformation and change, but Pluto rules power and empowerment. So Venus is connecting with Pluto, planet of empowerment, on the 1st. So I thought that was very interesting. And then on the 3rd, or is it the 2nd? Let me get my little cheat sheet here. On the 2nd, and into the 3rd, depending on where you live in the world, Venus is moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Now, she's going to jet through Aquarius because later on in the month, she's going to make another sign change. But when I think of Venus, that ruler of love and relationships, money and finances, our sense of self-worth, the divine feminine energy, being in objective air sign Aquarius, I think of the Queen of Swords. And I know there's a couple about you that took my tarot class last year that we talked quite a bit about the Queen of Swords. And many of you were like, oh, I love the Queen of Swords, because she's very independent. She's very take charge, right? And so just like Venus in Aquarius, independent, freedom-oriented, liberated, take charge. She's just her own being and does her own thing. And again, that's going to be the bulk of the energy from the 2nd and 3rd of January through the 26th when she changes signs again. Actually, we might as well just talk about that now. On the 26th, she moves into Pisces. And she'll be in Pisces until February 20th. And she'll be a little bit more softer, more loving, nurturing, dreamy, imaginative, intuitive, as she moves into that sign of Pisces a little bit later in the month. Okay? And then on the 6th of January, we have that full moon at 16 degrees of Cancer, that ruler of the emotions, the emotional body, home, family, community, giving service to other people, counseling sort of energy, And so I think, again, full moons, right? It kind of rocks our emotional world. And this is the moon in her home sign of Cancer. So you can expect that maybe our emotional buttons will get pushed, and it's really going to highlight that emotional home and family situation. Okay. And then we're going to skip to when Mars, the warrior, turns back to direct motion on the 12th of January. Now, Mars is going to turn direct at 8 degrees of Gemini. Mars wants to move forward and move forward fast, but it's been slowing down since probably the second half of December. It's been retrograde for longer than that, but really starting to slow down. Second half of December into January here. And coming to standstill, to that station point on the 12th. So our physical energy and vitality might be a little bit challenged around that time. And also, as far as moving forward on plans, projects, situations, networking, anything that's related to Gemini, which is all kinds of information, speaking, teaching, writing. There's a kind of a slowdown that kind of happens here, right? But it turns back to direct motion, and then slowly it will start to get faster and faster and pick up speed. So it's going to pour more and more of its energy once it moves back to direct motion into these new brilliant ideas that we have, these plans that we have on the Gemini mental level as far as where we want to go. So it's kind of like setting your intentions at the first of the year, but we want to set our intentions all throughout the month of January. Because the next thing that happens is that Mercury, planet of the mind, that naturally does rule Gemini, but is currently in Capricorn, is turning back to direct motion on the 18th of January. So, Capricorn, where Mercury is turning direct, it does rule career and our goals and our ambitions and our plans and working towards them. And so again, there's been a slowdown while Mercury has been slowing down to station and then turn back to direct motion. So now Mars and Mercury by the 18th are both starting to slowly move forward. So again, set your intentions all throughout the month of January. Okay? Keep reflecting on them. Keep affirming them. Saying them out loud. Keep on keeping on, basically, as they say. On the 20th, the sun will move out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, which is the time of year, every year, that it moves into Aquarius for about the next month. So the sun will now join Venus in Aquarius here. On the 21st, we have a new moon in Aquarius at 1 degree. So the sun and the moon will be in Aquarius at 1 degree. And it's in a sextile to Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of blessings, abundance, prosperity, expansion. The sextile means there's an opportunity here. New moons are new beginnings. And so there's a new way to think, a new way to perceive, a new way to believe in our ideas and what it is that we want to accomplish. Again, those intentions, that would be a great time to really set your intentions. And then with that sextile to Jupiter, there's an opportunity, if you look for it and act on it, to make it grow somehow. So look for that opportunity. And maybe that opportunity is just lighting a candle, making a phone call, sending an email, anything like that. Anything to activate those intentions and those new ideas would be great with that sextile to Jupiter. And then on the 22nd, Uranus, the Great Awakener, turns back to direct motion. So there's our third planet turning back to direct motion. At 14:15, it's actually 14 degrees and 57 minutes, so it's almost 15 degrees of Taurus. And probably a few days before and perhaps 2 or 3 days after that date of the 22nd when Uranus turns direct, look for sudden, unexpected happenings, surprising developments, odd, strange things going on, some turn of events, some redirection that's happening in your life. Uranus rules liberation and freedom, independence. So we might want to really break free at that time and do something different, unique, revolutionary. Of course, as I mentioned, the 26th is when Venus moves into Pisces. And that's pretty much it as far as the significant things that are going on in the month. Okay, let's take a look at our message from our angels and guides before we look at your special message card. So the first card that came out here, I'm gonna set my other thing up, is the Six of Chalices. This is like the Six of Cups. Now, the Six of Cups can be about home and family. It can be about emotions or connections from the past. It does deal heavily with the emotions because it is chalices, it is the cups, right? And we do have that full moon early on in the month on the 6th of January, that full moon in Cancer. So that kind of goes with the Six of Chalices here, saying that there could be someone from the past returning, coming back into our lives. And this could be a reconnection with a family member or a friend from the past. This could be old emotions or memories that come surfacing up, which is typical of the full moon and especially Cancer, that we need to kind of attend to. It could be good memories, wonderful, loving memories. It could be something to deal with parents or children, even friends that are family to us. Now, again, it could bring some emotional, rockiness as well. So, depending on how that full moon hits your astrological chart, we don't really know how that's going to play out. But I feel like you can see two children kind of in an embrace here in the center of those cups. So this is about showing love to other people. No matter what might be going on, maybe there is an emotional interaction happening. But if we be in our higher soul selves and we show that unconditional love from our heart center and project love, project nurturing, be loving, be kind, be caring, that's going to be the best way to approach this, and even be kind and loving to yourself too. This could be about self-love and self-nurturing as well. Okay, so there might be some healing of some old family patterns that are going on, either in real time with the family or just within yourselves and within your subconscious. All right, the next card here. Okay, this makes a lot of sense too. This is the Four of Orbs. This is like the Four of Swords in the traditional tarot. So the number 4 in numerology has this feeling of sometimes restriction or limitation or being practical or grounded. Now, the suit of orbs, like swords, is about our thoughts and our ideas. It's the mental body. So we might be needing to be a little bit more grounded and practical on a mental level. But it could also mean that we are holding our own ideas back or feeling restricted in some way with moving forward with our ideas, which is what I think for the most part this is, because of those planets being retrograde early in the month and slowing down, right? Getting ready to turn back to direct motion. There's that pause again that we talked about earlier. This person is sitting on a beach. They're actually between the water and the actual sand of the beach. There's some cloudiness in the sky, right? So we might feel a little bogged down with some of our thoughts. There might be, negative mindset that kind of comes in saying, well, I don't feel like this is new energy, and I don't feel like this resurgence of wanting to move forward on my goals, or my plans aren't unfolding as I want, or nobody's answering my calls and emails. That's kind of what's going on with the Four of Orbs. There's silent reflection, quiet time going on, literally, right? So what's the best thing to do? It's a time to meditate. It's a time to go within. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to build in your mind the intentions and ideas of what you do want to accomplish in this year and what you will start to be able to initiate and move forward with a little bit later on this month even, once that new moon comes around and all these planets turn back to direct motion, okay? So don't get bogged down in any negative thinking with this, right? All right. And then the last card, okay, we got another Orbs card, but this is the positive one. It's the Ace of Orbs. This is like the Ace of Swords, a positive new beginning of the way that you think or perceive or see or experience the world from your mind, from your mindset. Here's the orb, here's the whale. You know, the whale is coming up to connect with this new idea, this new intention that it has. It's ready to move forward by the end of this month with whatever these ideas and intentions are. So this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's interesting that the whale is in the water, right? But the orb is an air, it's like an air element. So the orb is on the surface of the water, in the air. So we're kind of merging our emotions and our feelings. I want to say merging our positive emotions and positive feelings with our positive thoughts, ideas, and intentions. And then we're going to be able to activate by the end of the month what it is that we desire to move forward with, what we want to start to manifest perhaps throughout this year. But remember, as a whole, the 7 universal year is not a completely active year. It doesn't mean you can't take action. It doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to manifest anything, but it's kind of like a period of inner development. So just approach it from that standpoint if you can, okay? All right, let's take a look at your special message card. Depending on your stone of choice, the Celestite people. That was the first stone of choice. So giving this a little shuffle, asking for the special message for January for Celestite people. Celestite. You know what? Okay. Yep, this is the one. I was going to say it's between that one and that one, but it's this one. Okay. Repairing the veil. Isn't that interesting? Repairing the veil. Repairing your connection between you and your higher self. Repairing the connection between you and the cosmos or universe. Repairing your connection to reach levels of higher wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Actually, at the bottom, the word says forgiveness. Okay, so here's the earthly realm, and here's the connection to the universal realm, the cosmos. And here it is, we're repairing this. It's like, it looks like little bows of happiness, like Christmas time, but this can be like repairing any leakage, repairing any holes, repairing any disconnect, right, between your earthly physical body and the earthly physical realm with the upper spiritual realms, and again, connection and communication with your angels and guides and with your higher self. Repairing the veil, almost as if maybe you've felt cut off lately. Maybe you haven't felt the presence of your angels and guides, or maybe you haven't felt like they have been guiding you or giving you the information that you've been asking for. So whatever that's about, know that this is, to me, I just heard divine timing. It wasn't that they weren't there. It wasn't that they're not assisting. They're always assisting. They're always there when you ask them to be there, when you ask for their assistance. But I feel like divine timing, something about divine timing. And my eyes keep getting drawn to this little bit of a branch of a tree here. It's like something is regrowing. I feel like this repairing of the veil is this new growth, kind of like synapses in your brain, right? That start to kind of come back together and rejuvenate. I feel like there's something rejuvenating here. There's something that's growing to reconnect you in a stronger way with your higher self, with your spiritual self, and with all of the angelic assistance, with all of your guides and angels. There's even a butterfly here too. So butterflies are new beginnings, a positive new beginning to grow and expand your wings as you connect more strongly to your angels and guides. Okay, so let's put that back in the deck in case somebody else gets it. And the carnelian message, special message for January. For carnelian people. Carnelian people. Special message for carnelian. This one that's touching my index finger on the bottom. And it says, Dream Thief. Well, that's interesting. I've never gotten this card before using this deck. Dream Thief. It says at the bottom, refusal of the call. So to me, this is saying you're not listening to your inner guidance. You're not listening to your higher self. You're not listening to your angels and guides. There's something here to where you're refusing to answer the call of your soul and spirit. Maybe your spirit, your higher self is saying, hey, you need to move. You need to change your location. You need to change your career, get a new job. You need to shift this relationship. You need to shift the belief systems within yourself. What are you really passionate about? Are you listening to the call? Are you listening to the pull of guidance that we're giving you here? So the dream thief. How can we interpret that phrase, dream thief? The thief is taking something from us. Well, so is it taking your dreams? Are you taking your own dreams by not answering the call of your soul? Right? What is your dream? What is your passion? What do you really want to do? Who do you really want to be? How do you really want to experience your life? I feel like you're stealing that from yourself. It's like to be truly happy and joyous, to feel content and at peace. There maybe needs to be some sort of changes that you're not currently making. You're refusing to listen to that, and you're refusing to make the changes. Therefore, you're stealing that from yourself. You're stealing your own dreams from yourself. Well, that's pretty heavy, isn't it? And what better time than a 7 universal year to really go down deep, dig down deep, and contemplate what that's all about. Why are you stealing your own happiness away from yourself? Why are you afraid to make the changes that your higher soul self is calling you to do? Wow, okay, let's put that back in the deck. And then Azurite Malachite. Special message for Azurite, Malachite people for the month of January. Azurite, Malachite, month of January. You know what? I have to say that this one, is it this one? Okay, I'm going to pull these 2 cards, but I'm not going to look at them, okay? And then I'm going to muscle test them. So I'm going to put them down in front of me. The one on the right, the one on the left. The one on the left wins, and it is Many Masks. I'm not even going to look at what the other one was. Many Masks, and it says the authentic self. So it has kind of a similar feeling as the last card. It's like, are you wearing a mask of illusion? Are you not allowing yourself to see what you need to see, to go where you need to go? Or are you not allowing other people to see you the way you truly are? Are you afraid to show them your true selves? Are you afraid to be your authentic self? Okay, so your authentic self, again, this could be about you wanting something, but you're feeling like you have to wear this mask to fit the mold of what somebody else wants you to be. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your family, significant other, whatever. And it's like you've fallen into maybe this role, but it doesn't feel like you anymore. Or maybe it's never felt like you. And maybe you're afraid to take that mask off and do something different. You're afraid to show your true and authentic self to these people because they'd say, who are you? That's not who I thought you were. But you need to be your true and authentic self. You need to be who you really are, right? And then on the other side of that, again, with what your dreams are, what your goals are, what your ambitions are you wearing a mask and not wanting to take off that mask and say, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be, this is the path I want to follow? It may be different than what I felt like a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, but I need to be authentic, and now I need to make some changes to be in alignment with my truth, to be in alignment with bringing myself happiness and joy. Right now I'm just living in shades of gray, but I want to be in a place of color and vibrancy. So that's what I think that message is for you. Okay? Take off the mask. Be who you really want to be. All right. So thank you all so much for tuning in for this month of January 2023 Empowered Moments video. Sending you lots of love and light and abundance and prosperity and happiness and joy and good health and well-being for this whole new year. And I will see you in the next weekly reading, everyone. Love and light. Namaste.